Well, hello Journey North Church. This is your midweek update. I told you Sunday we'd update you a little on some things. I have a number of things that I'd like to do. I mentioned this Sunday, and I'd like to give you just a little bit more detail on it today. And the first one is the idea of microsites. We talked about this Sunday how although we can meet in groups of 10 or less, probably not the best thing yet. As restrictions are lifted, we'll kind of see what happens. I have a whole sheet here that I could share with you on stuff. I just want to give you a couple brief things here. The first is, what are microsites? Why do we have them? It's because we can't meet in person, but we understand how important small groups are in connection with people. What it is, a Journey North microsite is just a group of 2 or more people. It can be 2, 5, 10, 20, 30, it doesn't matter how many people there are. And here's why these exist. These groups exist, number one, to welcome new people into the Journey North Church family. Every Sunday we're seeing hundreds of people engage in our online services. We want to continue to help people move from this larger Sunday morning online experience to being a virtual small group of people where they can be known, they can be cared for, they can be prayed for. We also want to help current and new Journey North members stay in a weekly rhythm, in a weekly habit of Sunday morning service and gathering weekly in groups like the first church did, temple courts, house to house, that kind of thing. We also want to provide everybody the opportunity for taking next steps on their journey. So that's why we're doing these microsites. What does a microsite do? Very briefly, here's what it is. There's 2 connection points. They're online at the moment, and you would use a Zoom call, and I'll get into that more in just a second. There's a Sunday morning and another evening, like for instance, Wednesday evening. Sunday morning, maybe half hour or so before your group gathers individually in their homes to watch the online service. The microsite will gather a short time of conversation. They can do testimonies, they can pray, they can just connect a little bit. Think of this as your personal connection time when you come back to the in-person service. Think of it as your personal connection time out in the foyer. That's kind of what this is. And then when you're done, your call's over, you end your call, and you all jump on to journeynorthchurch.com, whatever platform you're using, and you join us for our virtual gathering as a whole church. And then on another night, like Wednesday night, for instance, like tonight, you would be all going separately and watching at journeynorthchurch.com or watching on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, an update like this so that you get a little bit more information on what's happening. And as soon as that's over, then you gather virtually again. Your microsite leader has an invite for the time, and he sends that to you. You all get online again. You can see each other, you connect and talk, and a number of things can happen. You can process the sermon from Sunday morning. Go a little bit deeper, talk about that. You can process updates and information from the briefing. It might be something very crucial, it might be minor, but you can talk about that. You can share personal and group updates and prayer requests, and you can be praying for each other and just have fun. Have fun building relationships and just being authentic. You can play games or whatever. Those are the 2 main connection points. They're going to be based, the microsites will be based loosely on geography, hoping that someday when they move into the real world, you're close to somebody, but that's kind of irrelevant at just the moment. There's a lot of things that we can do. The microsite needs something though, and I alluded to that Sunday, something very important, and that is the microsite needs leaders. We need microsite leaders. So you probably have a little bit of an idea, but let me do it this way. There's some do's and don'ts. You think, well, what does a microsite leader do? Here's some do's and don'ts. We're going to start with the don'ts. The first don't is you don't have to, do's and don'ts. The first don't is you don't have to have all the answers about COVID-19. No opinion needed. I would go so far as to say not only no opinion needed or necessary, it's best not to go there. Everybody has their theories. We have some on this side, some on this side, anywhere in between. It's best just not to go there. So microsite leaders don't have to have all those answers. Microsite leaders don't have to be a Bible answer man or a Bible answer woman. You don't need to worry about having all the answers. You need to be humble. If somebody asks a question, nobody knows the answer, the easiest thing to do is say, I don't know, but I'll find out. And find out from someone. So you don't have to, the third don't is you don't have to have all the answers about Journey North Church reopening. Because the truth is, I don't have all the answers either. We're discussing this on a regular basis, more about that in just a moment. But what about some of the do's? What are some of the things that we do want a microsite leader to do? The first is you want to have that desire to welcome new people into the Journey North family. There'll be people who are part of our family who are going to connect. There'll be a lot of people. We have about twice the attendance right now as we did when we were meeting in person. So there's a lot of people who would probably love to be able to connect with someone real. Another do is that you want to help people get and stay connected. Because you don't want out there alone, feeling alone. You want there to be some kind of a connection. Another thing is you want to see people take their next steps on their journey, whatever that is. And that works best in that smaller setting and group of people. Fourth thing you need to know how to do is you need to know how to explain and use Zoom. Now some of you are like, yep, no big deal, that's not a problem. Some of you are like, what? You know, more on that in just a moment. Another do that a leader needs is you do need to communicate meeting times, changes, and everything. So when you have your group gathered, you'll be emailing or texting, whatever your group works out to do that you can say, we're going to have a meeting at 7:30 on Wednesday. And you can communicate with them. You can communicate other things with them too, prayer requests and stuff like that. Another do that you would have to do is start the meeting. You would send the invite, start the meeting, you would keep it going, and then when it was done, you would end the meeting. You end the meeting with prayer. Maybe you just start out by, everybody gives a little prayer request if they have one. If they don't, that's fine. And you can just write these down and close by praying for them. Another thing is during the week, you would contact members between meetings for encouragement. And that's not just a leader, that's everybody can be doing that, connecting. How are you doing? Is there anything I can do for you? Maybe some of the members of your group are a little bit more vulnerable. They have other issues, and maybe they could use something during the week. They could use some help. So that's what we're looking for. And you say, well, that doesn't sound that bad. I think I could probably do that. So if you're interested, what does it take to be a microsite leader? What does it take to do that? Here's what you need to do. You go to journeynorthchurch.com, up in the right-hand corner. I guess if I'm doing it backwards, it'd be up in this corner. In the menu, there's an About. One of the pages is called About. And under that are some selections. It's ministries. And you go to the bottom. You can also just you don't even need that if you don't want, journeynorthchurch.com/ministries. That will take you right to that page. You can do it on your computer, you can do it on your phone, you can do it on your iPad, your tablet, whatever. You go to that, and that will have a thing say, yo, great, you want to be a member, you want to be a leader in the microsites. Here's what we need to do. You need to give us your contact info, your name, email, phone number, stuff like that. Geographic area, city, township, whatever. You can say, I'm from Pine City, or I'm from Pine City Township, or I'm from Graston, or I'm from Askove, or Alaska, or whatever. And if you're in a group already, it'll ask you that question. If you're already in a group gathering and you just want to take it online and become a microsite, we'd like to know the names of the members of your group so that we can help and connect and do whatever we need to do to further that for you. And then we need to know if you have a group already, is it open or closed? Now, you don't have to remember all this. It's all in that thing that you fill out on the ministries page. But we need to know open means I still have room. I can fit more people in my group, yes. Closed means I'd like to, but our group is full right now. We just can't do that. So that's what that means. It'll also ask you if you are Zoom capable. That means you're able to, you understand enough of Zoom that you can send out an invite and you can all gather and you can make that work. Or you're willing to learn. And if you're willing to learn, we'll train you so that you can train your people and make that work. And all you have to do then is hit submit when you're done filling everything out, and it'll email that info back to us. And then we'll be in contact with you and get that going. Like I said Sunday, we would just love to have 100% participation in these groups, so we need a lot of leaders in order to do that. So that's what we'd like to be able to do. And all you have to do is fill out that form, and we'll get in contact with you and get you going on that in whatever's necessary. So that's kind of the brief, quick update on the microsite thing. I mentioned an update on in-person gatherings. And here's what we know. That's what we know. We're hearing all kinds of messages, stuff, some most conflicting. We're listening closely to the main sources of valid information to determine what's best, because your safety is incredibly important to us, and we want to do things right because for us, Jesus' name is on the line here. We want to make him look good. So when we're going to talk about in-person gatherings and stuff like that as we move there, but I actually want to know what you're thinking of that first. So what we did is we took a Lifeway survey and we kind of adapted it to us, and you can go to journeynorthchurch.com. I think iloveourchurch.com goes to the same place, but it all ends up at journeynorthchurch.com. And again, you go to the menu, you click About, and this time you click Why, or you can actually just journeynorthchurch.com/Y, W-H-Y. When you get to there, you will look down there and you will see that there's a survey. And there's a whole bunch of questions. If it has a little asterisk by it, it means that one you have to answer. You don't have to give us your name, but you fill out this whole survey, and it will help us know where our people are at in terms of here's what I'm thinking, here's what I'm not thinking, so you can give us your name. You don't have to, it doesn't matter. And again, when you're done, what you do is you click on that, and it goes to an email, sends us an email, and it'll just give us all that information. We'll compile it, and we'll kind of see where people are at in this whole thing. So that's part of the brief update, but something that's probably the most important that I want to say, and I want you to hear this very clearly. Thank you. I want to thank you, Journey Our Church. You are the most amazing family that I have ever experienced. I see and I hear how you are continuing to serve. You're continuing to give. You're continuing to be the church. I hear so many churches having issues during this time with finance stuff. And people think, well, you're not meeting. Expenses must have gone down. Actually, to make all of the stuff work that we have working now and will be into the future here for this whole new normal, the expenses actually have gone up a little. But Journey Our Church has come through in incredible ways and is meeting those expenses. And I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for sticking with us. If you're newer, I want to thank you for joining us on this journey. And I want to say, I love you, and I will see you online Sunday. So can't wait.